He signed the marriage papers like it meant nothing. I signed them like I was giving away my life. And the worst part, he was never supposed to fall in love with me. If he did, everything would collapse. And it almost did. Let me tell you how it started, because the beginning matters more than you think. Mistakes don't look like mistakes when you're making them. They look like opportunities, like survival, like the only option you have left. My name is Elena Torres. At 26, I wasn't chasing dreams. I was trying to stay afloat. My mom was sick. Not the kind of sick that goes away, the kind that drains everything: money, time, energy, hope. Bills stacked on our kitchen table like a countdown. Every envelope another reminder that we were losing. My younger brother Nico had just been accepted into an engineering program he'd worked years for. Years. Late nights, scholarships, sacrifices. I refused to let him give it up because we were broke. So I worked, and kept smiling at a job that barely paid enough to survive. Because sometimes survival is the only goal you're allowed to have. And I was losing even that. Then came the meeting, the one that didn't feel right. You know the kind, where the air feels heavier, where everything is too quiet, too controlled, too expensive. It was 8 p.m. Late meetings were never a good sign. I was told to bring files. Instead, I walked into something else entirely, something that would change everything. Adrian Vale was already there. Of course he was. He was always early, always prepared, always in control. 34, Chief Executive Officer of one of the fastest growing real estate firms in the city. People didn't call him brilliant. They called him something else. The Machine. Because he didn't react. He calculated. He didn't feel. He optimized. And sitting next to him was the man who made him that way. Charles Vale, founder, architect of everything. The kind of man who didn't raise his voice because he never had to. He looked at me like I was a line item. Then he said, "Sit down. This concerns you." And just like that, my life stopped being mine. Here's the truth no one prepares you for. Your life doesn't change with chaos. It changes with a single calm sentence. "My grandson has chosen you." I laughed, one sharp sound, because it had to be a joke. It wasn't. Adrian didn't even blink. "It's a contractual arrangement," he said. "Not a proposal, not a question. Terms. If he didn't marry within 90 days, he would lose control of nearly half the company. If he did, he kept everything. Simple, clean, ruthless. But there was a catch. There's always a catch. He couldn't marry someone powerful. No rich families, no strategic alliances, no one who benefited the company. It had to be someone irrelevant, someone outside the system, someone like me. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't chosen. I was selected. Then they showed me the contract. 2 years, a legal marriage, separate lives, no emotional involvement, no complications. And in return, everything I couldn't fix alone solved instantly. My mother's medical debt, gone. My brother's education, secured. A financial future I had never even imagined having. All I had to do
Non-negotiable.
was say
Sign the
yes.
agreement, and this is all over.
You think you'd refuse. Most people do. Until the moment becomes real. Until saying no has consequences you can't survive. Until you realize this isn't a choice, it's a test. So I asked the only question that still mattered. Why me? His grandfather smiled, cold, certain. Because he will never fall in love with you. That should have been enough to walk away. It wasn't, because desperation changes the rules. 3 days later, I married him. No music, no family, no emotion. Just signatures on paper and a lie told to the world. To everyone else, it looked like a fairy tale, a sudden romance, a powerful man choosing someone ordinary. People loved it. They always do. Because they don't see the contract behind it. Behind closed doors, we had rules. No touching, no personal questions, no entering each other's private space, no emotions. And the most important one, if either of us forgot it was temporary, it ended. I agreed. I thought rules would make it safe. I didn't understand yet. Rules don't protect you from feelings. They just delay them. Because Adrian Vale had a flaw, a dangerous one. He was human when no one was watching. The first time I saw it was in a hospital hallway. 2:14 a.m., fluorescent lights, cold air. The kind of place where hope feels fragile. I was arguing with insurance, trying not to cry, trying not to break, because I didn't have time to break. And then he appeared, calm, focused, controlled. 3 questions, 1 phone call, problem solved. Like it was nothing. Like my entire world collapsing was just inefficient. You handled it inefficiently, he said. Of course he did. But then he took off his jacket and put it around my shoulders, like I mattered. And that was the problem. Because the next morning, he acted like it never happened. No mention, no acknowledgement, nothing. And that's when the confusion started. Which version was real? The man who treated me like a contract? Or the one who showed up when I was falling apart? I started noticing things, small things, dangerous things. He skipped meals when he was stressed. He remembered I hated cilantro. He never raised his voice, but people listened anyway. And in his office, there was a photo, face down. I shouldn't have touched it. I did. That was mistake number 1. It was him, younger, different, smiling in a way that didn't look controlled, with a woman, and she looked alive, like she pulled that version of him out. Then he walked in, and everything changed. Don't touch that again. No anger, just final. I asked anyway, who is she? His jaw tightened. Rule 3. No personal questions. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Because a week later, she walked back into our lives. Camille, his ex-fiancé. Everything I wasn't. Elegant, powerful, untouchable. And she knew exactly how to hurt me. How efficient, she said, smiling. Marrying from within the staff. People laughed. Quiet, careful. I felt it, the judgment, the difference between us. And then Adrian moved. Careful, he said. You've always mistaken cruelty for wit. The room froze. And in that moment, he chose a side. Mine. That was the moment everything became dangerous, because it wasn't part of the deal. Later, Camille found me alone. Of course she did. And she told me the truth. The woman in the photo? Isabel. The one he actually loved. The one he was supposed to marry. The one who died. That night, I broke the rules again. I said her name.
You shouldn't take those documents.
Isabel.
It's not safe.
He didn't yell. He didn't leave. He told me the truth. She was chaos. She was life. She made him feel things he didn't know how to control. And then she was gone. And he learned something dangerous. Feeling meant loss. So he stopped. I chose you, he said quietly, because you wouldn't ask me for anything I couldn't give. That hurt more than I expected. But then, I didn't expect to want to give it. And that was it. That was the shift. That was the moment everything started falling apart. Because he was changing. And change breaks systems like this. For a while, it felt real. Too real. Breakfast together, conversations that weren't planned, messages that had nothing to do with work. And one night, he tried to cook. It was terrible. Smoke everywhere. It's burning, I said. It's searing, he replied. I laughed. And then he laughed too. Not controlled, not measured, real. That was the happiest moment, which is exactly why it couldn't last. Because happiness like that, it's never the ending. It's the setup.
Let me finish this.
The truth came out on a Thursday. Leaked documents, our marriage, the contract, the money, everything exposed. Headlines everywhere, stock dropping, people staring, judging, speculating. And then we found out who did it. His grandfather. It wasn't sabotage, it was a test. He wanted to see what Adrian would choose, the company or me. The board gave him a solution. End the marriage, blame me. Protect the company. Simple, clean, ruthless. And in that moment, I understood something he didn't. If he chose me publicly, my family could lose everything. So I made the choice he couldn't. I left. No argument, no goodbye, just a note and silence. 11 days, nothing. Then day 12 came, and everything changed again. He went public, live, no protection, no strategy, just truth. He admitted everything, took the blame, exposed the system, destroyed the illusion. The stock dropped again, but something else happened. People believed him. And then came the question, do you love her? Silence. Complete silence. And then,
the decisions you make now
yes,
will define our future.
that one
I urge
word
caution
changed
and unity.
everything. That night, he came to me, no armor, no control, just him. I'm not here for the
Just trying to be
company,
honest
he
with
said. I'm here because losing
all I know
you
how to
feels
do
like
right now.
losing myself. And for the first time, I believed him. We didn't fix everything instantly. That's not how real stories work. It took time. Trust doesn't rebuild in a moment. It rebuilds in choices, over and over again. We fought, we doubted, we almost walked away more than once, but we stayed. Not because it was easy, because it mattered. The legal battles lasted months. Contracts rewritten, structures dismantled, everything that made our marriage a transaction removed, piece by piece, until nothing fake was left. My mother recovered, slowly, but she did. My brother graduated, built the future I refused to let him lose. And Adrian, he changed. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. The machine didn't disappear, but it stopped being the only version of him. A year later, we got married again. No contracts, no conditions, no expectations, just a choice. My mom was there, crying, trying to pretend she wasn't. My brother smiling like everything finally made sense. And Adrian, still composed, still controlled, except for one thing. His hands were shaking. That's how I knew. This time, it was real. He wasn't supposed to fall in love with me. I wasn't supposed to fall in love with him. But we did. And that one mistake, it broke everything that tried to control us and built something real instead.